Hello there. Welcome back to The Lost Signals, where we have a very special episode today. I, of course, am Scott Thurlow, here with Jonathan Ian Manzer.
The horror.
Indeed. And Stephen Amosi.
I am still terrified.
Yes, and as you may have gathered, we have just come from the New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Festival 2018, and we're going to regale some of our experiences, one of which being our fourth member, Chris Morgan, may or may not have made it out alive. We'll see.
We'll find out.
But yeah, it was a 3-day event, pretty near us, like half an hour away. And we were there the whole weekend, like covering, like getting a lot of interviews. So keep an eye out for some stuff coming out later this week. But we're just going to talk about like what we sort of did when we weren't working the con. So, you guys, got anything to start off with? Any good stories, early impressions?
Yeah. So one of the highlights for me, and like this was after 2 days of just trying to get a lot of interviews, like kind of exhausted from the weekend. On the second day, they had a punk show. Up in the second floor, which was the after party and
of the film fest.
Honestly, that was I loved everything that was happening in the horror show, but like that was a really reminiscent moment for me of like going back to high school and like going to punk shows all the time. So that was really cool. Three really good bands played, and we will name them and put up.
You can check them out. We tagged them and so forth on our posts.
Yeah. Oh, God, I wish the only band I remember the name of at the moment is Pissed. Do you remember the other two?
I believe it was Doc Rotten was the first band.
Doc Rotten, yeah, they were really
and the Vandals. I can't remember the Van something, not the Vandals.
Yeah,
sorry, they were awesome. They were the last band, and they're all really good. And yet, I will add on that just to say that it was sort of a flashback experience, like basement punk rock shows, but it was just a really good time and a cool thing that they had to wrap up the ceremony, if you will.
And as an additional bonus, Deadpool was really getting down at that.
Deadpool was moshing the fuck out of it, and it was awesome.
And
sorry, Deadpool with a sombrero.
Oh, Deadpool with a sombrero, and Jack Sparrow as a Ghostbuster. Which at some point Jack Sparrow got into a sword fight with Deadpool.
They had a duel.
Deadpool using his Deadpool slipper as his sword, which is pretty great.
Yeah, it was a good time for sure. Well, you.
I'm not going to get into the story yet.
Okay,
but I just want to say that
the story with the capital S.
I don't attend many conventions, but it was interesting going to a convention for work and going there with the purpose in mind not to see things, but to get as many interviews and talk with as many people as possible. And that was kind of a weird, like, we actually got into a conversation with having a cigarette outside with this woman who worked another, like, audio production company. Like, oh, do you see anything? She's like, no, I was busy working the entire time.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, us too. Like, I would have loved to see a lot more of the movies that were available here. They sounded amazing, except we scheduled an interview with the Ghostbusters, so we have to go and do it there.
Yeah.
Or the Pinups and Pipples.
Pinups for Pitbulls, yeah, they were awesome too. But we ended up talking to them for a long time.
Yeah, and it's working a convention, like in the sense of being the media outlet there with press passes and all that. It was a completely different experience than I think the fans have there.
No, I mean, you're right. That's a good point. So yeah, we were trying to ostensibly work and also take it in. So that did prevent us from catching as many things versus if we were just there as fans. But I will say the stuff we did catch all was great. I was happy that I was able to go to the cosplay contest. That was really cool too. We got a lot of good stuff out of that. And again, yes, trying to talk to the people, the participants, but just enjoying them, all the work they put into doing their stuff and that for that too. And just like wandering around. Yeah. And, you guys can check out, as I said, later on this week, we talked with Father Evil, who was a quite interesting character there. So yeah, it was kind of a whirlwind. You're right. Like in that sense, it would have been anyways, but even more so. But it was just, a lot of just cool stuff. For example, like you mentioned the Ghostbuster. They had like a bunch of Ghostbusters cars there. They had Kit there, who we actually also interviewed.
Yeah.
And his handler, Craig, as well. So, yeah, it was just like a lot of cool stuff to see. But we were also trying to like, hey, if you have time for an interview, would you like to sit down? Like, some of you guys might have caught we did an interview with PJ Souls.
Yeah.
And put it up on Saturday. So, yeah, it was just like this convention was amazingly well put on. It was very well organized. I got to give them a lot of credit, shout out on that. But as you said, at the same time, we're just trying to like talk to as many people as possible and maybe that means we're missing some stuff that versus if you're just like sort of taking it all in.
Yeah, we do have some cool talks with people that we did, but I would also like to say, you know, we talked to a bunch of other people that we didn't get interviews with. That was like, you know, part of the same thing as the woman you just mentioned that we spoke to outside about her being part of like another media outlet that was there, and just everybody was really cool and very nice the entire weekend, which is, you know, makes it an enjoyable experience.
Yeah, everyone's having a lot of fun just hanging out.
Well, except for the story, which you'll hear later. But like,
we're getting to that.
It was so like, as you mentioned, like, yeah, we were there. We were trying to get interviews. We were trying to talk to people about what they did. A lot of what we got was, I mean, we got an interview with PJ Souls and talked to her, but a lot of what we got were like the smaller, maybe up and coming people, stuff like that, which I'm kind of happy about, to be honest.
No, yeah, it was definitely fucking cool.
I'm not huge into like trying to talk to celebs and things like that, or people that, you know, not that I mind it or whatever, but I always like to see like people that are trying to make it, trying to struggle to get where they want to be. And we got a couple really interesting interviews with people like that. A couple people that do cosplay. We have a short interview with Pennywise coming up, which is really fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, there was a lot of good stuff that a lot of good stuff that like I could appreciate as a fan, even though we were trying to get an interview like with people and things like that. So it wasn't. I kind of felt like I did try to like have that balance between enjoying the show for what it was and trying to be somewhat professional and get these interviews. But as you mentioned, I wish we had been able to see some more films, because, you know, this is basically half a film fest and half a convention, and it seems like we missed a couple really good. We did get to see a few, which were all pretty good, like fun little horror flicks, a couple shorts and a longer one. But go on.
What was the name of that almost silent film?
I believe it's called 3 Dead Trick-or-Treaters.
Yes. That's what
I was going to bring up. Yeah,
that was all right, so it's a horror movie shot very artistically with, I believe, almost zero dialogue.
It's kind very of little dialogue. Yeah,
it's an anthology
like
series,
vignettes.
like 4 or 5 different 4.
I think it was 4. Yeah,
4 and the framework, I suppose, and it didn't work completely, but definitely the first of the anthologies was very impressive, and this is well worth a see if you can. It's not what I was expecting going in for a horror film, but I enjoyed the hell out of it.
Absolutely.
I agree with that. So I was going to mention the film fest itself, because we did attend they had an award ceremony at the end. They had like best director, best actress, things like that. But the thing that amused me, like, so it was hosted by Tiffany Shepis, and I think Ming from Comic Book Men was supposed to be there too.
He was,
but he wasn't there.
But he was not.
Tiffany put on a great show though. She was hilarious, and she was just like, you know, getting into it and sort of like somewhat like tongue-in-cheekly like mocking
mercilessly mocking Ming.
But the thing that what I'm getting to is like half the people, like when they announced the award winner, they weren't there in the audience. Like they ended up giving like I don't know if I should say this, but they ended up giving someone else some award sometimes. Like, and it was like it was sort of like a, you know, on the spot thing, and people I thought it was hilarious, and people were surprised, like, yeah, sure, I'll take the award. Like anyone who was there got to go make a little speech, but it was a really, really entertaining award show, and I have to give him a lot of credit. It was just a lot of fun, and it was sort of unexpected in a great way. So, and what followed was first a podcast with Brian Quinn. If anybody knows him, he's from Practical Jokers, and his buddy, his partner, Brian Johnson as well, was there. So I did like an on the spot podcast, and that was fun too. It was almost like half stand up, and they also had guests come up and talk as well. And then after that, started the after party with the bands. So it was always like a whirlwind of just like awesome stuff. That's when I felt like the most fan like, when I could sit back and sort of enjoy, you know, as an observer, not like, hey, then I'm taking another interview or whatever. But yeah. I thought the award show was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do it again next year.
I did want to speak while we're still on the films. I did want to mention a couple of the other ones that we saw.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Saw one called Adolf Silverstein, which is about
that was really
about a
well done. That's
demon
funny.
who it was a comedy, like comedy horror, but it was about a demon who like is questioning whether or not he wants to continue to be a demon. Like
He's like a punch clock monster.
Yeah,
he works
pretty
in the
much.
office and shit. Yeah.
starts to miss his family
Yeah.
and like everything that like all the families that he's murdering. We're gonna start reminding him of his family and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was pretty good. There's one that was really cool animation called the Funhouse Waltz.
Yep. That was sweet too.
Which was about 20 minutes long, and just if you can find it somewhere, it's a really interesting. That was another one that didn't have any dialogue, but it was just a waltz was the score, the entire
The
short
whole
film,
time. Yeah.
and it was just a lot of really cool, like almost claymation and type of animation.
It was like stop motion, like I believe.
Yeah,
It was old school, yeah, like you said, like really cool looking, really well done, really well designed, and it was a really good film to catch. Of the ones we were able to catch.
yeah, and that Adolf Silverstein was up for a couple of awards at the awards ceremony as well. But yeah, and unfortunately we didn't get to see any of the other ones. Actually, we saw one other one called The Son, the Father. Or we saw most of it. It came in a little bit late, but yeah, which was an interesting one too.
Well, I believe we are going to be getting a screener of the winner of the film festival.
I would love to see that.
Hopefully we will. Yes.
Because
Trying to
I'm
set that
dreaming
up.
of a white apocalypse.
Yeah.
was it?
Doomsday, I believe.
Or Doomsday.
Yeah, Scott and I missed that one this morning.
Yeah,
We were trying to go, but
Again.
So I believe we've set up an interview with the director of that and a screener of the film sometime in the future. So keep an eye out.
More to follow for sure.
no promises. But I think we're working on it.
We talked to whoever we could talk to. So I want to, I'll go to E for a second, that perhaps this is the dark side, if you will, of the HorrorCon. So tell our audiences the story with the capital S.
Okay.
What happened to you?
So I don't know how to have fun. It's true. I'm a very business oriented person and forward thinking.
Girls just want to have fun. Ian don't know how.
Yes, it's truer than I would like to admit. But so I was actually starting to loosen up a little bit to drink.
Drinks
was
were flowing,
enjoying
to be
the
fair.
first band. They played a Dropkick Murphy song, which I was kind of getting into. We go outside for a cigarette, and there's a girl out there who she's not the, she's the pretty girl, but a pretty girl with prettier friends. And she is talking about how she's too cool for the
Too cool for the con.
and for
Apparently.
the bands upstairs. Talking about how it reminds her of like high school show with a shitty band, and all these people are up there who haven't grown up. And the thing is, like, so I'm thinking to myself, like, you're the girl who was at the high school party back in high school who claiming that you're too cool for it. Now you're here in the same, but she poisoned me. It got into my head. Since it's a horror thing, I'm gonna make a horror reference. Silent Hill. All of a sudden, the world flipped over.
You saw the world
And I was
changing to
looking
rust.
at it through like decay. Like I was looking at everything about like, look at all these people here who are living in their past. This is a very, like, the horror convention is a very retrospective looking event of being like, oh, I'm trying to recapture my childhood. And I know that's not the good lens to look at, but this is what the woman poisoned me with. And I couldn't help but see like that worldview. But then this morning I woke up and I realized that I was wrong, or she was wrong about that, and her poisoning of me was wrong there. I remember the guy who did I'm Dreaming of a White
Doomsday.
A young kid making a movie, winning Best Picture. The joy in his face. So yes, there is some element of truth to that, of the retrospective look. But that decay is allowing for new growth. And so it left me optimistic for the future of horror. That's not just people wishing to be young again and looking at what they loved in the 80s and
Sure.
70s. There's still great stuff being produced today.
Absolutely, man.
And so for all the people out there complaining, I'm talking to that one specific woman who will never see
Her and people like her.
this. Look for the positives.
And I was
Look
gonna
for the
I was gonna say 100 years of great horror tradition. You're goddamn right, I'm living in the past. But that was gonna be my joke there. But no, seriously, like, yeah, it's just, why ruin people's fun? Like, maybe you have a point there, but you don't need to fucking be nasty about it and just shout it in people's faces. And I said to you, when Ian told me the story, personally, I said, if I was there, I would have said to that person, why the fuck are you here then? Why don't you fucking go home?
Because she wants
I and everyone else around you, aside from you apparently, are having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because she's a horror movie villain, except psychologically.
I guess so.
But nonetheless.
It's too meta.
Yes. Right.
Yeah. That's a shame.
But yeah, let's not dwell on it because, as you said,
as I said, there's great works, there's great new horror coming out,
great stuff coming out,
and that's why I agree with you that I wish we had to spend more time at the film festival. But so we're a media organization,
yeah,
we gotta do what we do.
You know what? Hopefully, we can get some screeners and we can talk about the films that came out of there.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, when we review, like, for stuff like this, so we did a review of like a NJ Film Fest that was put on at Rutgers a few years ago, and I like that when we did that, and if we talk about Dreaming of White Doomsday or any other films that we might run across that came from this, I would like to view them in the same type lens as that, in as far as like we don't do our normal Mott scale for that type of stuff, because you're looking at this as like through the lens of indie. I'm not trying to tear you down. I want to talk about what I liked about these films and stuff like that. Like,
inspiration from it.
Whereas stuff that comes out in Hollywood, like if you make a shitty ass Fantastic Four movie, I don't feel bad about making fun of you, but
sure.
And hopefully at that point, you've got thing like Rock Hard Skin when you make a shitty movie.
You just don't give a fuck anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I'm going to say this too. Like everyone we did talk to, like even whether we got an interview live with them or just happened to be hanging out, like they were just so enthusiastic. Everyone's having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They're into it, and like it's just a damn good time. So that's sort of like and contagious, if you will. Like you see people having a good time, you're like, yeah, this is fucking awesome.
I just draw the negativity, I suppose.
Yeah, you just got the black hole of it apparently.
I mean, it was a lot of fun. Well, let's. I want to just do a quick rundown of the people that we talked to.
Yeah, there's so many shout-outs, but we're trying to do as many as we can.
We talked to PJ Souls, who's from Halloween, Carrie, Stripes, Rock and Roll High School. She's from a bunch of stuff. That was really fun. She was really sweet. And Chris, who may or may not be dead, is a huge fanboy of her. So he did the interview, and it was great to let him get a chance to talk to her. Pinups for Pit Bulls were really cool. They were really nice, and they had really cool. What was the dog's name?
Hannah Banana.
Yeah,
and we
Hannah.
hung out with her handlers as well.
Hannah was really cool, and the New York Ghostbusters. We were trying to talk to New Jersey Ghostbusters, but we ran into some New York Ghostbusters.
Before you go on, it's a point of contention a bit because I noticed on their car it said New Jersey, like New Jersey chapter or something, as if they were like a union or something.
Well, I don't think that was their car.
And then there was other ones too. So we approached one group. You're like, actually, or the New York ones.
Yeah.
Like, all right, cool.
Exactly. So we talked to them. We talked to this guy Father Evil, who's creepy as hell looking. Who else did we talked to? I mentioned Pennywise earlier, and I'm missing people. Neil Cohen,
Tom from Death Grounds Coffee. His shit's awesome. Check him out.
Fresh Grounds Coffee. We got to give them a shout out. Neil Young. Not that Neil Young. The better Neil Young for this weekend, anyway.
He's neither Neil nor Young, technically. We'll talk about that later.
We'll discuss. But yeah, so he actually he runs, I believe, the Penhurst Asylum in Pennsylvania, which sounds like a really fun time.
It's like a haunted ghost tour
looking for something
thing.
to do around Halloween.
Yeah, to do a huge thing. You might have heard of it.
Director?
I talked to, I forget his name right now.
Lawrence was the last name, I think.
Yeah.
Mr. Lawrence.
I think it was Rakeem Lawrence.
Rakeem, yeah, you're right. It was Rakeem Lawrence. That was a really interesting discussion. He's got
Speaking
a couple
of
movies
indie filmmakers.
Yeah, he's got a couple movies out. He said he's been doing this for like 20 years, and he comes to work, but he also comes to like get his autographs and stuff, and like talk to the celebs.
He's perfected the
like
work/play ratio.
Did we get a movie from him?
We did. Yeah, I got a movie from him, so we can take a look at that. And,
and also, I think the final one is Kit and his.
Oh yeah, Craig, who owned the kit from Knight Rider that was there, which is really cool. He invited me into the car, and
we'll have an interview
chatted about
with that coming out too.
He's got a podcast that we'll post about cars and things like that. So yeah, it was a really fun time. We got to talk to a lot of interesting people, and like I said, like most of them were not the celebs that like big fanboys usually go to shows for, but I think that a lot of these people had interesting things to show and to say, and that they're doing in the industry.
Yeah.
And although we didn't get an interview with her, I'm going to give a shout out to Peter Criss's wife.
Oh yeah,
Correct.
that's right.
I was waiting for that. Yeah.
It was her, Gigi, I believe is her name.
A wonderful person.
She was
the sweetest person to talk to. We were having a couple cigarettes.
She was great. Yeah,
and breaks.
I think this is the best part. I think we talked to her twice and had no idea who she was. She would just come outside for a cigarette while we were out there having a cigarette, and she was just really friendly and started talking to us, and we got into a whole discussion about why they put ashtrays by the garbage cans and how they think we're garbage people because we smoke cigarettes, and then like later on in the night, I think Scott, you were just like, oh, so what are you doing here? And she was like, oh, I'm Peter Criss's wife. We were like,
I did not. No, to be fair, so two things. Peter Criss was like probably the biggest draw. Like that was their big name that you could go and see him and have an autograph your stuff. So yeah, so like I apologize. I didn't know like what his wife looked like. So
I mean, why would you?
Yeah. So yeah, we were like, oh. Damn, you're big time, huh? But she was just really down to earth, like you said, a really cool person, and we just like again hung out and like talked about how cool the con was.
Yeah, well, that was a really fun experience as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cool. Like you could kind of just run into all these people that, like we didn't mention Tony Goggles either, who ran the film fest.
I was waiting to mention him too.
And he had a band
everywhere. Tony Goggles
that was in the show. He was a really cool guy. We chatted with him a bunch of times, and he was just a cool dude to talk to. So yeah, I mean that's kind of who we met up with. I'm probably missing one or two people.
We talked to tons more people, so apologize if we haven't mentioned you, but certainly we had a great time talking to each and every one who came up to us and who we just went to the booth and just hung out with, for sure. And like you said, yeah, it was a whirlwind. We're sort of still kind of winding down.
Yeah.
But just wanted to give our impressions. We're absolutely going to come back. I believe, actually, give them a plug. Pretty sure they said they're going to have another one in September, and then another one again this time of year after that.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I highly encourage you all, if you're nearby, if you're living around the area of New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, wherever you may be. I mean, we met people from like North, South Carolina, further away than that, who came up to see it. So yeah, definitely check it out. We had a great time, and we're going to hopefully do more coverage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great time.
Hell yeah. Any final thoughts, fellas, from the New Jersey HorrorCon and Film Fest? Although that was fucking sweet.
Go. If you exactly. like horror at all, it was a really cool time, and you get to see a lot of awesome costumes. You get to meet a lot of really
amazing
interesting people.
Yep.
I don't believe we mentioned the cosplay award thing.
I think we briefly mentioned
it,
but
like there
were some incredible.
Yeah,
a guy on I think stilts. Just as Pyramid Head.
Oh yeah,
fantastic.
Maybe that's what put the Silent Hill.
Actually, if you want to see a lot of these, get on our Instagram feed at _lost_signals, and I put up a bunch of the pictures from the cosplay. So check it out.
Yeah, hell yeah. So any other than that, like I said, we had a great time, just sort of unwinding from it, but it was fucking fantastic, and I had a blast. And just thanks again for everybody and for them for putting it on, for hosting it.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. If anybody is listening, at the HorrorCon that ran it is listening, thank you very much for putting it on.
You are awesome.
And thanks for having us there. Thanks for these yellow press pass
He's still wearing
wristbands.
He's never taken it off, folks.
Ready for next September.
Yes, trying to sneak in. But no, I think that'll do it. I, of course, have been Scott Thurlow, been here with Jonathan Ian Manzer.
Find the new growth in the decay.
Yes. And Stephen Amosi.
Have a good night, guys.
And we're talking about the New Jersey HorrorCon Film Fest. We'll see you next time. Good night.